All right, welcome to another grab bag.
It's going to be exciting, I'm telling you this. You haven't seen these records, and I have. I'm going to lead off with something so exciting you're going to go, "Oh, you don't have that. I cannot believe it."
Well, there's only one way to know for sure.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'll test you. Anything you notice about this record?
Well, it's yesterday and today, and it's got the second cover, but it could be a peel back. But the only way to know would be to heat it up and peel it. And
Do you happen to notice there's a corner up on it?
yeah, I see that.
And that there's a cover underneath it?
Maybe
Uh-huh.
I can't tell.
And it says that if you see black dots, you see black dots over there?
I do see some black line. Black line.
That's Paul McCartney's coat or something. It shows through, which is a dead giveaway that you have a butcher block. Now, the funny thing is,
Check my copy.
I was showing this once during I had a box set. It's called the Beatles box. It's blue. Has a fold off, lift off top box, and it has these Parlophone Beatles records.
Right.
And this was in it, and it's not supposed to be there. And Harry from Harry's Music Room stopped me from talking. He interrupts me, and he says, "I think that's a butcher block." There was all kinds of other record experts on that show. None of them noticed it, but Harry did. And he told me all the clues to figure out if it was or not. And they all panned out. Now, I haven't taken this to Norman Maslow Mazzy and asked him if he would authenticate it for me, because he could. Or Harry of Harry's Music Room, he could authenticate it for me.
I can't do it. I don't know.
No, and I can't either. But the nice thing is, if this turns out to be a butcher block, is that it was bought in like 1968 to 69 at a San Francisco store. We know the exact store that we bought it at. My brother Itchy and I were buying records, and we used to put lists in with the record store telling them records we were looking for, and this was one of the records we were looking for. And the guy came across this, and he called us up and told us to come pick it up, and we picked it up. And he didn't know what he had either. And that's all. There are even today. You do business with a certain record store where the buyer will ask you to say, "What do you know about this group? What do you know about? When is this from?
Yeah.
Is this really a valuable record? What do you think I should pay for it?" And then he looks it up on Discog, and the whole process takes longer because he's not sure what he has in his hands.
Right.
And that happens more often than not.
Yeah, most of the times they look it up.
Yeah. So this is and
it's a
you know, I
common-
noticed in the light, you see how that it has waves in the cover there, where it's lifting, right over here on this side, it's lifting. Yeah. So and Harry has a video at Harry's Music Room where he shows you how to lift the cover off, and it's a process of a little sponge and water, and you dab it and dab it and dab it. See how this is already coming up, and then he slowly does it. And it's a very long process to get one of these off.
I would think.
But you don't want to be pulling it fast. And
It'd be disappointing if you pull it off and then you find out you're wrong.
well, yeah, but it'd also be disappointing if you tearing up the original cover there. That you want to be as perfect as you possibly can.
Certainly.
Yeah. So we started with a pretty good record.
Pretty good record, yeah.
Pretty
It's
good
a
record.
solid record.
Okay, now this
Record
is
anyway.
something that's very collectible.
I haven't seen that one.
They haven't seen. Well, no, I don't know much about him. I don't know much about the artist,
Oh, Captain
but
Beefheart,
I know
yeah.
that Captain Beefheart is an acquired taste.
He is, and then there's different records that some are more interesting than others. Captain Beefheart. He was. Was he in Frank Zappa's band? I feel like he was a close friend of his or something.
I don't think he was ever a member of his band. I doubt that.
Okay, well they were like-minded, at least as
Oh,
far
sure,
as
it makes sense too.
doing different things.
Uncompromising.
Yes, so he did do things that were a little more interesting and odd. and sometimes they would float your boat, and sometimes they.
He wasn't following anybody else's way.
Yeah,
He was
it's like little Sun Ra or something.
yeah,
you know,
right. Good example.
Something
Yeah.
just a little different,
Mm-hmm.
and might work and might not.
Yeah.
But I have not seen that particular record. And,
But
have a
I
few.
would say, because I had quite a collection of Captain Beefheart records. I sold them on Mazzy's Music,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very impressed with how much people bid those records up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
you
they're
know,
unusual.
what that shows is it doesn't have to be a million seller.
Right. If it's a very small seller, but interesting.
But yeah, and you'll find that they, for these different genres of music, have fans out there who are looking for that, and it's hard to find them because they never were big sellers.
Right. Right.
It makes it very hard to find them.
Sure.
So
What's next?
I'm really switching channels on you
Oh,
here.
boy,
Uh-huh.
this is definitely not really up my Watson family. I assume that's Doc Watson.
Yeah, Doc Watson and his family.
Okay.
What's interesting here is
It's
the amazing talent that every member of his family played music.
kind of like the Carter family.
Yeah,
One of those,
exactly.
everyone's just that-
And wrote music as well.
Uh-huh.
But they were historians of Appalachian bluegrass music.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Neat. Yeah, I remember I liked Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette. And I think that was one of his tunes. But
Ooh, I doubt it.
you doubt it?
Mhm.
Oh.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Uh-uh.
I'm pretty sure I have a record where he sings it. But
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
mean that he necessarily wrote it.
Mm.
But I like those kind of character songs.
Mm-hmm.
And but you know, country, and especially when you start talking a more folksy country, that's not so much my bag as much as it is Dizzy's. So
You're right. Well, this has Darling Corey on it. It has Shady Grove, and those are, standard traditional bluegrass country songs. And these are all in that vein, sung with not, his whole family. They're
Right.
all singing together and,
Right.
and playing musicians. And so you almost have a country, a bluegrass band.
Well,
Let me see. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 15 people in the family. Wow.
but I know the Carter family. When they first came out, they were doing a lot of stuff that was, played a lot by a lot of different people, but it hadn't been recorded. So they got maybe the rights of it because they were the first ones to record the song on a record.
Mm.
So, but there was just a lot of songs that had just been played and heard amongst different people.
If I was to recommend, if you don't have a Doc Watson record, there's a record titled Southbound,
Southbound.
and that's the title of a song, traditional Appalachian folk song.
Yeah, let me hold it just because I don't think they can hear you.
You should get that. That's really great.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Southbound by Doc Watson. You heard
Yeah.
it here first, folks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I'm a big fan of Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Okay,
On Blood, Sweat, and Tears, this is their first album. They, added horns and were great, but they changed a lot from the first album. The first album, they didn't have David Clayton Thomas, and Al Cooper was involved with them, and so it was a changing of the guard kind of thing. But this is what started it. They first came out with this, and they had the initial sound, right? And so that's cool in the fact that it's just here's this new idea. We're going to do horns, and we're going to mix it up with rock and
Jazz.
and have this new kind of band, right? Kind of like Chicago.
And a lot of it sounds freeform.
Yeah. So this is the first one, and they grew as they changed. When they brought David Clayton Thomas in,
And he started writing so much of the material.
right? And Lucretia McEvil and Spinning Wheel and all the other hits. But that's it for these a quick hit here with a grab bag, and we'll catch you next time.